Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul Mackay from Analogue Wonderland, and today I'm going to be talking you through another film. This time it is an expired film, and it is the Lucky Colour film brand with their Super 100 film. So it's expired a while ago. We're going to talk about what that means for how you shoot it. We're going to talk about the results you can expect and why expired film can be so much fun. So sit back and enjoy. Whether you are new to film photography or a long-time analog enthusiast, our channel covers all things film, from tips and tricks, film reviews to how-to videos. Subscribe now and keep those notifications turned on so that you never miss a beat. Happy shooting! So the Lucky film brand is very well known for people who shot film the first time round, shall we say, before the digital revolution. Lucky Colour is a Chinese brand and Chinese company. This particular film expired in 2005. It's ISO 100. Now, there's a lot on the internet about how you should allow for more exposure when films have expired, basically because the chemicals degenerate over time, which makes them less susceptible to light. So you need to let more light in for them to capture a good image. The general rule of thumb is one stop every decade. But the good news is we've got this from our friend Miles at Expired Film Club, who, as the name of his business might suggest, is a bit of a pro when it comes to expired. So he always says, yes, that's a good rule of thumb, but really you need to try out the stock because how it's been stored, the quality of the emulsion, everything like that plays into a part. He's done a load of testing on this and says that 2 stops is probably about right. So shoot this at ISO 25 in your camera, or if your camera doesn't allow you to shoot at ISO 25, meter for 100, and then just open it up by 2 more stops, shutter speed or aperture, and you'll get the right amount. So you'll get a really good result if you shoot it, as I say, 2 stops faster than normal. So let's talk a little bit about Lucky, because as I say, it's a famous / infamous brand within the market before, depending on people's experience. I joke about the infamy a little bit because sometimes the quality wasn't always up to the quality of Kodak and Fujifilm when they were at their peak, but it's still a hugely popular brand for a load of really good reasons. Slightly cheaper, definitely cheerful, and some fantastic results. It was known for having quite a neutral color palette. So unlike the sort of typical Kodak's a bit warmer, Fuji's a bit greener, this is gonna come in pretty neutral, which for people who are really used to a particular tone or look, it wasn't particularly nice, but maybe they were just ahead of their time. This was the raw equivalent of analog film. So Lucky began life in China in 1958. It was started as, and I'm gonna have to read this out, the Baoding Cinefilm Manufacturing Factory. And it was a really important part of China's growth plan, the 5-year plan at the time, where it was seen that they would need to have really strong optics manufacturing from a film chemical emulsion side in order to compete in the global marketplace. So really important, got a load of support, and for many decades did exactly that, churning out great films around the world, marketed around the world. So this is made in China, but it is all English writing, so this would have been produced for either the UK or the American market, probably, before it's found its way into your Wonderbox. So they shipped all around the world, and they did some also white labeling for other brands, and were a really important player. Now, they went through all of the transitions that everyone did across the late 20th century into the 21st, where they're having to think more about digital, about other optics elements rather than just film. In 2003, they actually signed a collaboration agreement with Kodak Eastman, where they would help Kodak Eastman with some of the manufacturing needs that they had. I think Eastman saw the way the wind was blowing a little bit digital and made a bet that China and the Asian market would hold on to film a bit longer than it turned out they did, and therefore investment into that part of the world with a local player was going to be a really smart thing to do. Unfortunately, it didn't last particularly long. I think Kodak put in 45 or 50 million US dollars into the project and into the investment to try and get the manufacturing to the level and on the products that they wanted. But 4 years later, Kodak pulled out of it, saying that effectively their big bet, which was that the Asian market and the Chinese market would be a bit more resilient to the digital revolution, hadn't come true, and they wouldn't be able to fulfill it. And that sort of marked the beginning of the end of Lucky's film production. Now there are rumours that swirl regularly over whether production is still possible under their brand, under somebody else's brand. There's a lot going on behind the scenes there, nothing confirmed at all, so I wouldn't expect to see this packaging reappear imminently. I'm sad to say, because it is outstanding. Back when having something shiny on it was a real point of difference. Super film. But it does come with that incredible, 70-year heritage now. And at the time this was being done, this is being produced 2005, so it's probably manufactured around the time that Lucky Film and Kodak were in talks, possibly even signed the agreement. So it's a real moment in history, which is wonderful. Now, what does it mean for you? It means you have a 24 exposure, expired roll of film. That should be pretty fun. As always with expired film, I'm saying, shoot it at ISO 25 to get the best results, but we can't guarantee the results, because although these have all been stored exactly the same and protected in exactly the same way as the test rolls that Miles shot, there is always variation, and where it was in the batch, etc., might have an impact. So you might get some color shifts, you might get increased contrast, you might get some weaker images being imprinted. That's all just part of the fun. What you can expect is a load of fun, a load of beautifully unique photos as well, because even frame to frame, there might be some variations where they wouldn't have been when it was fresh. The other aspect of remembering that if you're shooting it at ISO 25 when it was really designed at ISO 100, you're protecting the exposure and the colors, you will get slightly more grain for that. So expect definitely a grainier look than if you'd shot it fresh 20 years ago. But again, that adds to the character and to the uniqueness of the image. It is 24 exposure, so don't worry about it too much, because this isn't going to be stuck in your camera for ages if you can't see much. ISO 25 means it'll have to be pretty bright, pretty sunny for you to be able to shoot at anything other than wide open apertures. But that's why we've put it in at this time of year. Hopefully you'll find an opportunity, even in Britain, to get some sunshine in the next few weeks and shoot 24 fun, expired photos. And that's it from me for this week. I hope you have a load of fun. If you've ever shot Lucky before, recently with expired, or back in the day when it was fresh and beautiful, please do let us know your experiences by commenting below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing all your shots. Thank you so much.